time I put the flags up. I've been on anchor for a couple of days now, just waiting for my generator to arrive. This is the British ensign. Flag rules in on boats are can be quite tricky, but you're supposed to have the country of that you're visiting flying. I've already got the Greek flag flying, but with it being a British boat, British registered, you've got to have the British ensign flying, haven't you? Well, fix this on the back end. There's the old Greek flag flying. Well, there's no wind today. British ensign there. So that's my two flags sorted. That's a calm day today. An interesting little island over there in Coiladder. He's even got his own yacht harboured up in his own man-made little harbour there. Very nice. It's Sunday morning here in Coiladder. Not many yachts anchored out here. There's just this fellow behind us. Notice how his dinghy's straddling the side. I wouldn't dare do that. Just have the hull painted. And I'm even frightened to go into harbours or ports. I'd rather just stop and anchor. Every time I go into a harbour or port, I end up scratching the hull. Especially even with fenders, especially if it gets choppy. The fenders have got socks on them, but even the socks scratch the paintwork. And the amount I paid for it, for that repaint, try and keep it as shiny as possible. Looks like there's a fishing boat on its way in this morning. And there's that freighter that's parked up there, the blue freighter. It's been there since, even when I first came here. Never seems to go anywhere. Anyway, church bells have been going off, so that's why I'm up early this morning. Well, I better put the snubber out. I've been at a couple of days anchor, but the wind hasn't been too bad, so it hasn't been pulling on the anchor chain that much, so there's no strain on it, but probably tempting fate, so better get it stuck on. Better get my anchor line brought in. Do you know, this anchor light, it's only a cheap one from Amazon, but it's rechargeable. The problem with me is I keep forgetting I've got the thing tied onto the furling line for the head sail, and sometimes I'll set off in the morning with the damn thing still attached, and I pull on the head sail and this thing goes flying into the water. So I've gone through about half a dozen of these, so I'm hoping I can hang on to this one a bit longer. On the subject of anchor lights, you're supposed to have an anchor light when you're anchored up at night, mainly to stop other boats, especially fishermen, crashing into you in the middle of the night. Now I've got one on the top of the mast up there, as most boats have. The problem with that is not many people look up when they're looking straight ahead, which is why I have one attached at sort of head height here, so they're more likely to see it. Woof, blowing a bit today, about 30 knot winds. I've had to pull the dinghy up close because it's tipped over. I dared try and bring the dinghy on deck. It's too dangerous going on deck at the moment, but anchor's holding, so I'm not the only one out here. Yeah, gonna be a wild one today. Set off from Ladder this morning about an hour ago, doing about 4.5 knots, just about to round the headland here on my way into Porto. Should be there about, according to this, 12:15. Got the engine running. Normally I would sail it, but with it being a short distance, there's not much point in putting the big sail up, but I've got the stay sail out there. It gives me a bit of drive just in case of emergencies. There's a catamaran over there who's following the same path as me, and here's the headland I just showed you, so I'll be turning to port shortly. So it's only blowing about 4.5 knots of wind, so hardly touching the sails at all. We'll set off at 9:30 this morning. I'm under sail. I've cut the engine out for the time being. So I've just got the stay sail up. It's blowing quite a bit, so I'm just about to turn to port into the channel to get into Porto Heli and get my transit log stamped by the port police. There isn't a port police in Ladder, so I have to use this one. I'll probably stay overnight here. I'm going to renew the generator fuel, which is petrol I got from the fuel station in Ladder, which doesn't work very well in the generator. It's apparently it's biofuel, I only found out from the locals. So there's a Shell station in Porto Heli, so I'm going to renew the fuel there. Well, that's me ashore in Porto Heli collecting my transit documents.